Welcome back to this Friday edition of the SportsMax Zone. Thank you for staying with us as we kick things off with news from the Helen of the West. Indies, Saint Lucia, four-time Olympian and two-time Pan Am gold medalist Levern Spencer has been conferred with her home country's second highest civil honor, the Saint Lucia Cross, for her exploits in athletics. The award was bestowed on the 40-year-old during the island's recently held national investiture ceremony. Now, Spencer, a 2018 Commonwealth Games champion, now becomes the first of three national sporting heroes to receive the prestigious Saint Lucia Cross. We are pleased to be joined by the Saint Lucia high jump queen via Zoom as we share in her most recent accolade. Congratulations, Levern. Great to have you on the SportsMax Zone. And you have joined a pretty small list of sports stars in Saint Lucia to be accorded this honor. How does it make you feel?
Thank you for having me. I feel really honored to receive such a prestigious award. Not too many people get to receive an award of that caliber, and having, represented Saint Lucia for 23 consecutive years and doing, like you mentioned, 4 Olympic Games, 5 Commonwealth Games, 8 World Championships. And this award is awarded to someone who has rendered distinguished and outstanding performances for the country, and I feel like I've done just that, so I feel like it was well deserved. So I feel honored to receive such an award.
Yeah, you know what? When we were in the euphoria of the Julian Alfred success at the Paris Olympics, we kept making the point that from a track and field perspective, you had created the platform almost to get St. Lucians accustomed to the feeling of having someone globally on the international scene. And then, of course, Darren Sammy's exploits as well on the cricket scene. So there were forerunners to Julian Alfred's massive success that she had in Paris. Do you feel that way? Do you feel as if that you sort of pioneered the way for St. Lucian athletes, not just in track and field, to believe that they can compete and succeed internationally?
Yeah, I do believe I am a pioneer. I was the first to do so many things for St. Lucia. Coming from St. Lucia, you never thought, someone could make it that far in the sport. Being the first to, qualify for a finals at the Olympic Games, and no one has ever even done that before. Being the first to win an Olympic, being the first to win a Commonwealth gold medal as well. And I mean, just opening doors, just traveling the world. When I get to immigration, sometimes they have no idea where St. Lucia is. Sometimes my passport is being held and under scrutinization for so long just because they have never seen a St. Lucian passport before. So I'm almost sure that now that I've gone through it, that another St. Lucian coming through probably wouldn't have gone through some of the challenges I faced when I was competing as an athlete. So I feel like I kind of opened up the doors and paved way for the younger ones coming behind.
Yeah, and of course, Levern, we have to remind our viewers that this didn't start for you as a senior athlete. You actually won a bronze medal at the World Youth while you were a teenager. So you had pretty much indicated to the world that you were prepared to turn new chapters for your country.
Yeah, so I won the bronze medal at the World Youth Championships in 2001, and that's the first global medal for my country, and it was an eye-opener. I mean, when I started competing, or just when I started sports, I never knew I would have gotten this far in the sport, and just winning a global medal, it just made me realize that, yeah, you can achieve, even if you're coming from a small country and not having all the resources and finances to excel at the highest level, but it just proved that you can as well, even if you don't have all those resources. You just gotta keep working hard, believe in yourself, and success will show.
Yeah, for sure. And your success definitely has shown itself. And Levern, my question to you, because, it's easy to say 23 years of, consecutively giving service to your country. But within those 23 years, I'm pretty sure that, you had a lot of ups and downs, and you just mentioned a few. But I want to find out, how were you able, Levern, to stay fit and healthy? Because it's not as easy as, it sounds.
It was very, very, very difficult. I did a lot of extra things on my own. So other than just going to regular practice sessions, I normally, when I get home, either I do ice baths or I do massages. I invested in myself. I went to the chiropractor every week. I do the little things that other athletes don't see the significance of. I think every little bit helps, because within my 23 years of competing, I've never had 1 year where I had to sit out an entire year and not being able to compete. And almost every year, I was able to win a medal for Saint Lucia at either, the local stage, regional stage, international stage. So every year I receive a medal, and I did get minor injuries, but not anything where I had to be, sat out for an entire year, just because I took those extra steps to, take care of my body and not just go through the motion of just practice and competition. So I do the extra little things to keep my body healthy.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. And you've had so much of success, but I'll ask you this one. When you sit back now, having received the St. Lucia Cross and, just you had time to reflect, what would you say has been your most memorable win or most memorable competition? And I'd want to hear that story and why.
I think my most memorable would be winning the gold medal at the Commonwealth Games. No Saint Lucian had ever done this before, so it was a big deal for the country. And creating history is something huge. And just hearing, your national anthem being played, the flag being raised while you get your medal, it was such an honor. And I know, like, everyone back in Saint Lucia was really proud of me. Everyone was tuned in to see me, tuned in to watch the competition. And there was a big time difference between Australia and Saint Lucia. So it was a memorable moment for me. And just knowing that I had to jump almost my PB to get that gold medal as well. So, I think that would have been like the most memorable one.
Yeah, and I could imagine what it meant to the St. Lucians, because when Julian and Alfred won and they had the entire week of celebrations for her, I was lucky to be a part of it, Levern. And one of the things I always say is it felt very spiritual, just the way the entire country came together and, of course, rallied behind her. So I can imagine back in your time as well what it really meant to the people of St. Lucia. So one last one for me, and it would be, do you have plans or are you involved in now helping the younger generations to develop when it comes to, their talent? Because people like you, I feel, have so much to give back. And I always say, like, if I wanted to be an athlete, I would rather hear it from somebody who did that before, somebody who walked the path before, as opposed to just somebody who studied the sport. Do you have plans, Levern?
Well, I always have plans to give back to the sport that shaped my life. If it wasn't for sports, I probably wouldn't be the kind of person I am today. It's always my goal to help the younger athletes coming up behind. Currently, I am coaching or helping out with a youth club here in the US, and I'm still in school. So I am slowly getting into the process of challenging myself with kids. It can be very challenging sometimes, but it's always my goal to go back to Saint Lucia and, help out the younger ones coming back. Because I feel like when you've gone through it, experience is, a big key in helping people, when they can see you go through it and they know what you've done. And if you're able to demonstrate while you explain things, I think it carries a lot of weight. And just the fact that you've been so successful, a lot of younger ones will look up to you and will want to participate in the event. So that's one reason I think I would want to go back and probably help the younger ones coming behind.
Yeah, interesting, Levern, to hear you speak about your post-career initiatives. And it's interesting because, you know, a lot of athletes struggle to make that transition from being a professional competitor into what I'm going to refer to as normal life. What has that been like for you? Have there been unique or particular struggles that you've had, or has it been a comfortable transition?
It's been very comfortable because there are a lot of things I wanted to do and I couldn't have done because of sports. I gave sports, you know, my total attention. Everything was just 100% sports. But when I retired, that same year, within a month, I worked as a wellness instructor. And then after that, I worked for almost 3 years as a wellness instructor. And then I got accepted at the University of Georgia to pursue my master's in kinesiology. So that's what I'm working on right now. So everything kind of flow into the other. And that's something I always wanted to do. So I'm happy that now I can focus solely on that and not worry about whether something will affect my education while I compete.
Yeah, so you are doing the masters, and at the same time, as you pointed out, you're doing a little bit of coaching. What's the ultimate plan, or is it that you haven't worked out all the fine details yet?
I don't have all the fine details as yet, but I'm working towards becoming an exercise specialist. So I still have to get some certifications in other fields as well, but that will be my ultimate goal.
Yeah, why that area?
Well, I love sports and I've been in sports my entire life. And like I said, that's what really made me who I am. And I would love to help other people become a better version of themselves, whether it's through exercise or diet. And I just like seeing people transform. You come in one way, you leave a different way. You feel so happy you're able to accomplish something. So it's just always a good feeling to see you were able to impact someone's life in a positive way. And yeah, I love helping people and I have a passion for the sport. So that's why I decided to go that route. I got my undergrad in health promotion as well. So everything kind of ties a link into each other. So I think it's just a continuation from where I stopped earlier in life.
Yeah, sounds amazing. And I think anyone who is able to be under your leadership in any way will be truly blessed for that partnership. But, you know, Julian Alfred had a stunning 2024, winning the Olympic 100 title, winning a 200 silver medal, winning the world indoor title as well, winning the Diamond League. It doesn't get much better than that as far as a competitive season is concerned. And she is now thrown into the global limelight as someone who competed globally for 23 consecutive years. What advice would you give to someone like Julian at this stage of her career? Because she is still in the relatively early days of her, especially her senior athletics career.
Yeah, one thing I can advise is now that she has had so much success at an early age, you want to still remain humble and don't let the success get to your head because people can have downfall really easily when they go that route. And then two, try as best as you can to stay healthy. You know, when you get hurt, sometimes it's really hard to come back from certain injuries. So just trying to keep a level head, trying to stay focused, stay positive. And I think she'll be successful, you know, throughout the year. And also, she has to decide as to what competition she wants to participate in and don't get herself tired just by competing in everything. So I guess it's a management thing between her coach, her manager, and herself to determine how many competitions she wants to compete in and save herself for like major competitions. So I think my advice would be stay humble, keep training hard, stay healthy, and then just balance the amount of competition she does throughout the season.
Yeah, a good point there you just made, Levern, and we are seeing signs that she's taking that into consideration because she missed the indoor season and did not compete at the World Indoors. which obviously is part of the plan to shape her 2025 season and not have too much of a load. And you suggested also keeping herself healthy. Well, maybe with your studies in kinesiology and so on, you can pass on some advice to her. I see the charts behind you there with the human anatomy. So it tells us where your head is at and the things that you are working at. Because you did tell Mariah earlier on that part of your success was not having too many injuries or not having the kind of injuries that stalled your career too much. You were a 16-time Sportswoman of the Year, weren't you? 16?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, and that's amazing. You know, you represented the country for 23 years, and 16 of those years you're a Sportswoman of the Year. 16 times is unbelievable. I can't think of any other athlete who has been Sports Personality of the Year so many times in their own country. I guess if we dig, we may find something to challenge it, but at the moment, I can't think of anything. So you're based in Georgia now. That's where you're studying and so on. How often do you get back home? And as you spoke about trying to help the youth in Saint Lucia, is there a time that you think you may be able to spend more time in Saint Lucia?
Well, I try to go home every year, probably December for Christmas. That's the time we normally get a longer break. So once a year, if I can probably push it for 2 times, maybe throughout the summer. Yeah, so maybe at least once a year, sometime in December, will probably be the best time.
Levern, I must say that we have thoroughly enjoyed this link up with you, because a lot of times when athletes retire, they fall off the radar, and the media doesn't talk to them as much as they would have spoken to them while they were competing. So it really has been a pleasure linking with you on the occasion of you celebrating this latest honor from your country. And I think, you know, people must never ever forget the sort of impact that you had as a St. Lucia competitor, standing almost alone, because during your period of competing for St. Lucia, there wasn't anyone else who had achieved the global levels that you had. So from the SportsMax Zone, we congratulate you on this latest honor. We hope that you will have a good weekend here, and for your projections and the plans that you have in the immediate future, we hope they all come through well for you. Thanks, Levern, and congrats.
But thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate being here and sharing my story. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, Leverne Spencer. Never Ricardo and Mariah, the one with a lot of words. She's kind of a shy kind of person. So she, unlike a lot of other sports stars, would not constantly present herself to the media. You have to go to find her to talk to her. But a good chat we just had there with her.
What I liked about her is her results did the talking, so she didn't even have to talk.
Well, that's true. No, there's no question about that.
Yeah. By the way, did you know that Levern is Lance's favorite athlete?
He never told me. You know, I only know the ones he likes in cricket. He's never told me. Is that true?
She's one of my favorites. I'm not sure how Ricardo labeled her the favorite.
Do you know what he does on this show?
Yes.
I don't know if you were here on that segment.
Yes.
He nominates me to go to all of these events and tells the people while I'm seated on set and I'm live that I'll be there without even asking me. Do you know they've all been texting me?
Did you go to the badminton, Mariah?
It's the day, Ricardo. It's the day. They texted me, they reached out to me, and they reminded me. So thank you.
So you're going tonight to watch some wonderful badminton.
So now he's giving you athletes. You know, he's putting you in a position.
Is Lance's favorite
I get that,
real.
and I can understand.
One of Ricardo, one of.
But you know what?
That's not what you said when we had the conversation.
I will start to do you that. I'll start giving you random things.
Well, I would have to give you the ammunition, and that's not going to happen.
Do what I want. Let's go to break like that.
That sounds like lying, and you're not a liar.
Actually,
but you're lying on both of us.
I'm not.
I actually think Ramrock will be at the stadium tonight watching Grand Slam track and not badminton. But maybe on Monday she can explain to us how she spent her weekend and her Friday night. We have more to come on the SportsMax Zone.
Yeah, we do.
And we'll be back in a moment.